Thanks. It's the most appreciation I've ever had in my life. I never was good at shit in high school. This is... Don't make me a copy. I did. I also invited Ryan, who lives down the street from us.
Nice to meet you too. I believe we've lived a lot.
Yeah.
I'm in the gray round. Oh, I built it a bit.
Okay.
I'll call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting, so to speak, between the City Council and the EDA special meeting held at the Osakis City Hall Monday, October 21st, 2024 at 6:00 p.m. Some new people came in since we started, so you want to...
Stephanie Finnegan.
Ken Thornton.
Laura Backus.
And Dan Wessel.
Dan, could you have the crowd also say so I can get it for the record?
Okay, we'll start right over here then, if we could.
Randy Anderson, EDA.
Connie Danielson, EDA.
Ryan Peterson, EDA.
Brad Zimmerman, House and Community Association.
Mike Kroll, Osakis VFW.
Walt Lipa.
You write that fast?
I'm trying. I'm spelling right.
Okay, go ahead, Nikki.
Nikki Rossman.
Ryan Keppers.
Curtis Nagel, 506 2nd Avenue East.
Lori Koenig.
Brian Furris, EDA.
John Hensley, VFW.
Judy Dvorak.
Dave Meyer, Lake Association.
Doug Schmidt, Osakis Lake Association.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
Angela Jacobson.
Oh. Sorry, yeah. Okay. All right, so council, you have in front of you an agenda. I guess it's kind of straightforward. If you'd like to approve
Make a
it.
motion to approve the agenda presented.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, did you want to talk about this, Angela, or do you want how we want to go about doing this, or? we
I
just-
think just as your agenda, I was not at the last, quarterly meeting, so I did leave on a lot of the things with old business, whether you wanna talk about it or not, that you guys can stick over, but the only thing I added was this funds request from gambling sources that the EDA had been working on as far as draft, form, and it is with all the agendas, everybody that picked one up here could see that.
Did
If you
everyone
like
get?
it, if you don't like it, now's the time to give our 2 cents. Otherwise, it's just going through the agenda, if there's anything to talk about.
Okay,
So Randy, the first thing on our agenda is the gambling funds form. I know you guys talked about it at EDA, is the consensus, I was absent from
We all like like it as it was presented. One of the gambling representatives here thought that maybe we should change the title from EDA to the City of Osakis, because the funds would flow through the city, so that's what we had done. That's about all that happened at that meeting, on this form, right?
And do we like this form? I know Chubb was at our last meeting, and kind of suggested some things, and this is what we came up with, so. Of you people that are here for the gambling part of it, do you like this form? Do you not like this form? Would you rather see it changed, something different? No? Okay?
And one thing, the form was meant for the city or entity to fill it out and give to the gambling groups. That was understanding from the last meeting, once you did the form that would explain that, so
Correct.
that's what it's meant to be.
I guess, okay. Is everybody gonna take a little time to read it, or do we wanna discuss some other things along the way, or we're gonna have some pretty silent?
You know, the form is great and all, but it doesn't address the situation that we would have should somebody show up and need funds. You know, it doesn't, it's not, we don't have a startup fund, we don't have money to give to them like Twyla needed that. She would have never been able to open the grocery store had we not been able to give her and have the, West Central Initiative match what we could give at the time. We didn't, if we wouldn't have had that, we would have had to wait for all the entities to have another meeting. We'd have to have this filled out, then Angela to get it to all the entities. By then, you know, how much time's gonna pass? A couple more months? So it doesn't really address the situation that we're in currently.
Do you think that this could fall under like having a business incentive fund, we could request to the different entities and just say business startup fund, and then have a separate line item in the budget for that as an option?
Yeah, you know, I'm good with anything. I just know there's a plumbing and heating company coming to town, shortly, real shortly. We have been talking with, the boat marina guy. You know, there's another, gentleman that wants to do a little rental for lake equipment type stuff that is still pushing to come to town. So there are businesses that are looking that possibly would be coming our way for some funding. And I don't know if they're working with the bank on doing a business setup, you know, I don't know where they're at financially, but we could definitely be getting hit up by some potential new businesses.
And I guess, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I'll just let the people from the EDA know, well, and the community as well. Some of the things we talked about with the gal from Long Prairie that was here, and I can never remember her name. The gal that I met with, you know who I'm talking about, the blonde. She's got some really good news for us. Yeah, she's went to some of the sessions at the house, and she did some different things, and she goes, some of the things that she talked to us about have now come to fruition. So that, I would really like to hear what she has to say next month.
The gal who
It's Melissa
Tried for a
Wine.
grant.
Melissa, there you go.
she went for that grant.
Yes,
With our study, we were included in her study. So.
yep, and she had some good news for us, so she was wanting to come here and share that with us.
She'll be at our next meeting.
Yeah.
I thought she said she.
She'll be here on the 28th, so I'll be with her.
Oh, okay.
I'm the treasurer for the Todd County Economic Development Corporation.
Okay, good, super.
So if it's Todd County, she actually has expertise, also management, to go through and go through them with their financial statement and everything else, that she can help people out. Todd County, I'm sure she'd help you out if it came push came to shove and even that, but she's qualified for that.
And then to go along with that, just this last week, I've had 2 people approach me and ask if there's any housing in Osakis, because they'd really like to move to Osakis. And I have to give them the same story. Well, I mean, these are the ones that are for sale right now, there might be a possibility. And then also, I know you got the EDA, you're aware of this, that Raleigh Walsh did contact me again. Yeah, Raleigh did contact me again, and now he's got another group, another group with solar panels that wants to possibly do the same thing we were working with them on the first time, and I went, okay, we'll take all that into consideration and go from there. So yeah, and then I did, I mean, it's no secret, I'm running for mayor, so I did talk to a lot of people in town. I met with a young couple just right over here, who did receive one of the letters that were sent out. They didn't even know that EDA had money available for this. So I kind of educated them on that and told them if they're really interested, they should stop down at City Hall and get a form and get it filled out as soon as possible. So, excuse me, I guess if we keep on educating people, I mean, maybe we'll run out of money. I mean, I don't know, that'd be a nice problem to have, because that means where a lot of people are in the community, so.
There's a lot in that fund either, but.
Well, right, so, anyway. So council, do you have any other things you like, I mean, do you have any questions, concerns? Anything? I'm just supposed to facilitate this, but you guys are supposed to ask the questions.
Well, we can move to the open floor portion of each gambling entity. If they want to speak to anything that we would take under advisement, that's on our agenda.
Okay. Laura's asking for any of the gambling groups that are here, if anybody would like to speak at this time, we'll entertain some questions.
Questions, comments, concerns about the gambling / EDA, since we've got the council and majority of the EDA here.
Do you have an idea in mind of a number for this startup fund?
I don't think, and we'll probably discuss it at the EDA meeting we meet on Monday. So that'll be a topic of discussion that we could.
I'm hearing conflicting reports. On one hand, I'm hearing we have no money. I'm hearing the mayor talking about giving money away. So do we or do we not have money? And the other thing.
Okay, first of all,
whoa, let me finish.
okay.
Do we have, you guys were gonna discuss 50% of the liquor store money, which is a 60,000, 30,000, could that go directly to the EDA? And I'm confused too. You've got a wish list. You want a boat to come in. You want a housing. You want a new road. Could we, what we say, prioritize? Is that a big word? Okay. Is our housing more important than the boat? Is our housing more important than that street that you live on? Let's spend our money in the right way, and we are, every gambling has said we're willing to kick in, but we've never heard a figure. We've never heard one figure. And we're, like I said, we're willing to donate, but how much?
I can answer I don't know if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like the EDA, the first question there, as far as funds being available here, not there, here, they're not there. I think the best way to kind of try and explain our funds is we've got funds and there's, 3 or 4 different buckets of funds, but those buckets can't be poured into the other bucket. So if one bucket is low, or has a hole in it, or what, if one bucket is low, then it's just low. One bucket might be full, but that bucket can only be poured in certain spots. I guess I'm trying to think of just analogies, kind of, or metaphors together, but yeah, our funds are very very specific on how they can be spent. We have industrial funds, and just for industrial. We have residential just for that. We have stuff that came in from TIF, and it's just TIF. We have funds to provide gap financing, and it's just that. Well, that one actually we're a little more open to, but the buckets we have are just that. They can't fill each other. If one's light, if we've got a high dollar here, we can't replace it with this bucket. We have to replace it somehow else. So I guess that's the best way I could answer your first question.
But I'm also with the VFW. I work on the gambling staff. That's the same with our gambling funds though. We have certain places where we can put them, and I am not hearing those places with what you are listing. How are you going to get this money to the places where you want it by us just simply writing out a pledge and saying, here you go, Alec, or here you go, Osakis? I mean, how are you going to launder this money to make it go to where you want it to go?
If I can just answer that, that's, so on the form,
Okay.
it does have the purpose for the request. So if we, I know we have banners on here and that has actually taken care of itself. But if the EDA decided as a whole we wanted to help with the banners, then that's what we would put in there's a spot that says purpose for the request.
Okay, but some of these purposes you're talking about don't qualify.
Some of these purposes aren't being requested for gambling funds.
Okay, but you're requesting gambling funds for these purposes.
Like what? Just give like an example.
Like
what?
to start new startups for businesses. That don't qualify as a gambling fund.
The OEDC used to donate the money that they had when the OEDC was in.
Okay,
They would
okay,
donate
like
money,
a
and that would go to
OEDC meaning.
Osakis Economic Development.
Okay, and they got the money directly from gambling, or did it
Yes,
come?
it was gambling from the municipal.
Okay.
Yep. So they took that money and they gave it to the city, who was able to deposit into the EDA fund. And there we had money to help businesses in town. That's why the gambling got involved.
Okay, did it come right from gambling, or did it come from the muni?
It came from gambling at the municipal.
So who was the gambling organization then?
OEDC.
Okay. I'm thinking that there are some things here that aren't making sense to me. And I've got 30 years experience in the gambling world here. I'm not just a newbie in this. I'm thinking there are some things here that are not making sense to me in the contributions we're talking about. And I think we really need to look at them.
And I will agree with you. This is just a new startup thing. I know there were some things said that were not true, and they were brought up down at the VFW, and that were things that we didn't even discuss. But yet, that's how it went, and that's how we're at this point.
I'm just sitting here now. I'm just listening to what I'm hearing now. I have nothing to go back on.
Well, right, and maybe you should have been involved in some of them other things, but I'm not saying you should have, but if you would have been involved, and that's kind of what we've said just before. People are uninformed, they come in at the end, yada, yada, yada. Now, I like Chubb's idea. I think Chubb's idea of
Did I just get
prioritizing.
insulted? Okay.
I'm not insulting you, ma'am. I'm just saying, I'm giving you the facts. We've talked about this for almost 6 months now, okay? And I agree, I don't think we have anything set in stone that we were gonna do. We never made any decisions, ever.
This is
But
why
I do
I'm
like-
asking, Dan. This is why I'm asking, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right, and that's fine.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you, when Dave Zura was here, we had Dave come in, and Dave kinda explained everything to the gambling organizations. That was great for Dave to come in. Everybody left this building saying, wow, we didn't know that, I didn't know that, and I think that was a great thing.
Okay,
Okay, now I understand, I don't know, I understand gambling, I don't know all the facts about gambling, and I'll never admit that I do, but I do like Chubb's idea of prioritizing things so
Oh, yes.
we can get to that point.
right.
Okay, so there's one more thing I'm just gonna say. Chubb, you brought up your road. Just remember, the road that I live on, I had absolutely, positively nothing to do with that.
Please don't tell me that.
Well, instead of your road, why don't we just pave Main Street here?
Sure, go ahead, no. Because, let me just back up a little bit. When they came to me with our road, I said, remember, we have 8th Avenue that runs up here. Everybody on that road would like to have that road paved as well. I said, so just remember, if you do it for one, you do it for all. Now, it just so happens that a lady from our neck of the woods went around and got petitions signed and did her homework and got the paving company and everything together. Now, if you remember, any meeting leading up to this, I abstained from everything. I did nothing with the voting. So I am not involved in that. Would I like to see our road done? Absolutely, it would be great. Because when I moved here in 2010, I was promised, your road is gonna be next, Dan. It's now 2024, they've done nothing to our road. I'm only stating the facts. And you know what? I really don't care. Our road could stay the way it is. I mean, but if they wanna have a new road, there are gonna be no funds, and somebody can correct me, Angela, you can correct me. There's gonna be no funds from the EDA given to tar our road. The people that live on that road are paying for everything. And they all know it, and that's why they signed it. They know that there are no EDA funds coming out of this to pay for that road. Just so that we're clear on that. So Chubb, if you've heard something in the community that I'm pushing this, they are absolutely, positively wrong. And if you wanna talk,
I'll accept it, Dan, but I don't believe it one bit. But I wanna tell you something, you talk about economic. That liquor store, since the early 40s, has had no water, no sewer, and we still don't have water and sewer at the liquor store. And you talk about economic development. Wouldn't you think in, what would that be, 80-some years, we would be looking at that? I haven't heard water and sewer brought up for the liquor store, the VFW, the Levine's edition, none of that. But we can do, like I said, prior to, whatever that word is.
prioritize.
Put it in order.
Yeah.
To me, water and sewer at that liquor store after the early 40s should be a priority, but it's not. Putting a boat on the lake, and I'm in favor of the boat. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm in favor of it. Not in favor of where it's gonna go, but I'm in favor of it.
Yeah.
Let's get our ducks in a row. Don't just grab straws. And you're right, that street out there and then the one down by the lake. We got streets a lot older than yours that don't have tar.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that I said, and that's why I'm staying completely away from it. I don't want nothing to do with it. As far as I'm concerned, they can leave that road just where it is. I'll deal with the 8 feet of water in my ditch. I don't care. That's less grass you have to mow. Good enough for me.
Yeah, I've talked to a number of people on the other side of the road, they don't want it.
Okay?
They don't want the tar.
All I know is the gal that went out and got this done, got petition signed, which tells us that those people want tar out there.
Yeah.
So,
I'd
but
love to have it too.
I absolutely,
I'd love to have it too.
I understand, and I like your idea of prioritizing, I really do.
And so that is a city council thing, so I think let's go
Right.
back to EDA
Well,
and gambling and So we've had.
Well, I'll just clear one thing, we do have water at the liquor store, just so we're aware, other that's positive.
So we have the VFW speak. Is there another gambling entity that has questions or comments or concerns about, so the EDA will meet, we're gonna look at this form. Sounds like we can do some prioritizing. Is there, I know there's a couple other gambling entities here. Do you have any questions or comments that you want us to take under advisement and then for the next meetings coming up?
I guess the only thing I still don't understand, we've still never heard, we've heard the high number, but we've never come down from anything to, I mean, every time we go to a meeting, we talk about the same stuff, but nothing ever comes out of so it started at 10%, are we gonna go to 2%, and then you gotta look at all the different organizations that are getting affected by this too.
Percentage of what?
Well, we have gone over that. It's, everybody sitting here has their own budget for what they have for gambling funds, so that's up to your committee to decide. If it's 0, if it's 10.
We have
if
never
it's
asked for
anything,
10%.
But that's what
Honestly.
that's what it
It's whatever.
started at.
No,
The
we-
first, no,
That was out.
I was here, that was the first thing that, we threw the number out there. Nothing was really asked for, but we just threw that number out there to start at. But we've never went, and everybody was like, well, now you're telling
Because
us.
it's a mute point. We're not doing we're not asking anyone for a percentage. If we fill out this form, we're gonna be, let's say, we think we're gonna do Christmas banners and it's gonna cost $5,000. We might ask each entity for $1,000 and
Okay,
have banners on
that's
it.
the same type of stuff, but we've never heard any, I see the form for the request, which is all kind of, you have to do that now with all the audits that go on for all the gambling deals. But I'm just saying, we've never really heard a number, if it's just as needed, I understand that there's no amount you can put on that, if you wanna put it towards a certain thing, yes, but we've never really heard any real numbers.
Because
There isn't,
If-
because there
okay,
isn't any, right?
Well, can I just
Right, there is.
clear
Right.
this up
Okay.
just one more time? One more time, I would love to clear this up. It was brought up at an EDA meeting. Someone said, do you know that some towns do a certain percentage? That's where it got brought up. The council as a whole never really discussed what that number would be, what we would send out to anyone. Did we ever have a discussion as a whole about a certain percentage? Because if we did, I was not at that meeting. It was brought up at EDA. At our following meeting, things got really ugly. People thought we were gonna come and demand money from every organization. That was not the case.
That's just, nobody's really heard a number, but now with this form, you're saying,
Because
we
there
come to-
hasn't been,
right, which, that makes more sense, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
But as far as a startup fund, I think, when we have an EDA meeting, we can talk, maybe we can look back at the last, how many businesses came to us asking us for startup money, or, what were the last 5? And take a look at what the average is. Like, I know Twyla was really hoping for a little bit more to get going, but we gave her what we could, and the West Central Initiative matched what we gave. They're not gonna give more than what we gave. So I think maybe at EDA, we can discuss the last 5 businesses that have requested and take a look at that, if that's what you're looking for, like what our startup would be, is that what you're?
Well, it's just a raw number.
Which is hard for us to say, because each business would be different. The kid that wants to rent out the lake stuff, obviously, he maybe doesn't need as much stuff. The plumbing company, I don't know, is he gonna come to EDA and need money? Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know.
It's
He
just
just
like
shop with cash and not come into here and
so-
spend for money.
And some folks don't need that capital injection to fit within bank policies, so, but, good question. Yeah, and I do have the loans that we've given out,
Oh,
so, I got that from Essential, so
awesome.
I can bring that,
Awesome.
One more question, now shut up. I mentioned it, this has been about 3 months now. What about money from the liquor store gambling fund? That is $30,000 right there for you.
And that was actually, I was going to come back to that to answer your question. We have talked about that at our budget meeting. So, that will be coming up in our 2025 budget that we talked about. We didn't set an exact number, but we did throw it out. I don't know that, did we make a motion on that? I don't
No,
know.
we did
So
not.
we had discussion about it and it was brought up that half of that.
Throughout the history, that's probably been in excess of $1 million. So the city has had excess of $1 million from gambling. They chose not to spend it that way. Now, you have an opportunity to use it to a good purpose, because again, when people come to us for a $5,000, $3,000, whatever, do we send them to the EDA? We can't afford it if you take our money,
We're not-
Let's just stick to business and look at things reality, and Tanya is leading the charge on getting this money. Now, that's her business, but it's our business to protect ourselves too. And I know last week, Brad would know, how many dollars did we donate for this banner deal? Was it 1,500
I think it was.
or 1,500?
I gave.
We're a generous organization, BS generous.
1,500, I
So
believe.
let's keep
I
it,
mean, that's.
let
what it goes to.
us take care of charity. I was involved with this fancy word, OEDC. OED said nothing for charity, nothing in this town. The only thing they ever did for charity in this town was put up the football lights. And then mark my word, go back to the old minutes, if you find some charity there, I wasn't at that meeting because I've seen them turn charity down time and time again. Oh, they did buy some basketball uniforms too. That's the height of charity with the OEDC. And Tanya's right. The OEDC did funnel money into the EDA. And that was a good purpose. We got a nice facility for our housing. We got an industrial park. It went to good use. But put people in a position that have got some experience on this. Help you. It's obvious that you're just grasping for straws, like I said. What's more important, the house, the boat, the plumbing? Just because somebody wants to come to town, does that make them a good investment? Not necessarily. Maybe they should have failed without that. Maybe they're just not good business people. Like I say, I started out with one truck. And there was no EDA at that time. Not that I cared. And we survived.
Mhm. I like your idea, I really do. I think prioritizing is a great idea.
I have a question, and maybe you guys know this, but what will the Nelson charge to count their Pulltabs? I have had OEDC and the VFW at the bowling alley, and I never counted a single tab, never once ever counted, and I got max amount of,
Do they count them or weigh them?
no, never.
I mean, does the Muni count them, weigh them, put them through a counter? Do you
I have
know?
no idea what the Muni does. I'm saying I did not have to do that, so I'm curious, so if they're gonna take away some
Right.
percent, what is that? I mean, you're charging to come in and count tabs? I never have paid that.
I believe we bought a count,
There is a counter down
there's a
there.
counter down there, so.
I don't know about the weighing thing, but I know there's a counter down there. And when Rini would call me and I would ask her, she goes, "Oh, this thing doesn't work. I hate this thing." And then she never used it. So again,
That's just a lot of time, and I know like the Lake Association, when I had them, they came in, if I pulled the box, they came in, they grabbed the box, they took it, I think you went out to the head of the lake, so you went out with it. I don't even know where you went with it. I know they're looking for an office now, but, I mean, to charge the facility for counting is crazy.
I don't think we charge the facility for counting, I don't know, I can't say we do or don't.
I don't think you do. I just think what Rini meant by that is if she counts the pool, this is only what Rini has told us as a council, if she counts the pull tabs and does all the bookwork, the paperwork with it, the municipal liquor store gets 20%. If Brad's group comes in to count them, we only get 15%.
So they're charging
You know,
5%.
okay, so you
I
make,
didn't count a single thing down, not one single tab did I ever
and you
count.
could be right in
And I
that.
got the 20% with 3 different entities.
Well, just so that you know, I think us as a council, now that Rini has resigned, we've got some different avenues we need to look at. I think one of those will definitely be the poll tabs.
Yeah.
Who's gonna count them, who's not, who's in charge, right? I mean,
Well,
for
and
sure.
just so you're clear, it's not the entity itself, so don't take that and run with it. It's not the entity, it's the process of it. So just so we're clear on that, we're not saying it's gonna be someone different, we're saying the process of it.
Them are all things we need
And
to
that was
talk
all,
about.
and that was all stuff to help out, was get the machine to count, instead of physically having to count them. It's a time thing, you don't wanna waste all your time doing that, so if you put it in a machine, then it goes quicker. And I've seen the machine, it should go quicker.
She may just need to clean it.
Well, and we don't know if that,
Yeah, we just clean them with alcohol wipes at the
But you're
VFW
gonna
and it
have your
works fine.
highest paid individual at the municipal doing that?
well, I don't know who does it.
Those are discussions.
If you could tell me that she's the only one that ever does it and nobody else ever pulls a box or nobody, I don't know, cause I'm not there's another meeting that's, the other 2 guys had to be at tonight.
That's a discussion the council needs to have. And we will have that discussion, but Rini sprung this on us last month or a couple Mondays ago that she was.
One more time, that procedure started in the 80s. The first time I've ever heard about who counts, who does not count is now. And I think we're on our 4th manager that has dealt with pull tabs. There was no charge for pull tabs when that originally went in there. It was 100% profit. The business was the benefit. Then we had a manager who decided they should get paid for it. So then a percentage went in. I don't remember what the percentage was at that time. And that was a guy named Dick Heil. That was the first recipient. And I think you're wrong about charging for pull tabs, counting, and that's never been brought up until tonight. It sounds to me like we got a lot of people that really don't know the answers to what they're talking about. And I think it's up to you guys to get those answers. And if counting pull tabs is a problem, we got time to work on it.
Yep.
Just
yes,
pull
we
the
do.
contract, it'll be in your contract.
That's why our first meeting tonight, I don't know if you, Lori, I thought you were here, Chubb, you were here. We talked we need to, first of all, get a manager. Somebody that's gonna run it, and then we'll take care of all the other pull tab stuff. I will tell you, I've only been doing this for 4 years. I only know what's happened the last 4 years, and it was a hellish nightmare, and it still is to this day. That's what I'm saying. And I've tried to, like I've told you before, I don't know gambling, I don't know whatever, however. Yes, I've played pull tabs, yes, I've gambled, but I don't know how to even do that. If you win, you win. But I will tell you this, I know one thing, if we can get this straightened out. Now, I've sat down with Rini many a times. Tim and I even went down there many a times and just tried to talk to Rini. Rini, what can we do to make more money for the municipal liquor store? Okay, and the only thing we ever got was, we don't have enough workers. We don't have time for this. We can't do this. And that's what we were talking about before, where there's a lot of animosity. People only think, I mean, we had a great idea. We were gonna go to that municipal liquor store and put in a grill or just a deep fryer to make deep fried stuff. And we went to Browerville. Angela, Lynette, myself, and I believe Isla, we thought, let's go down to Browerville. They're making money hand over fist there. Because it comes 11 o'clock at night and somebody wants some tater tots, or they want something because they've had a few too many beers, whatever. They want to just kind of have something to eat. we brought that up, it got shot down like there's no tomorrow. And it was like, no, we don't have employees that can do it, we just can't do it. But yet, if you look in the MBA report that we had, we got accused of not even working with her on that. That was another story. That's not true. We worked on it. She just said, I can't do it. We can't do it. We can't. And those are the issues that we've dealt with. So then we just didn't do anything about it. But now, since we have an opportunity to hire a new manager, we're basically getting a get out of jail free card and starting all over. And I think we can make that work. I really do. But your comments are great. You're right. Prioritize. We could probably make more money than we are. I don't know, but that'll be up to us. Anybody else want to speak?
So we have on here the January 20th meeting is actually Martin Luther King Day. We cannot have a meeting on that day. So I guess we can look at our schedules. We'll talk about it maybe at the EDA meeting and see, if we can adjust a Monday or something, and we can send out an email letting you know since we cannot hold a meeting that day.
So Lori, you had said that you work with the Pulltabs. Is Lori your Pulltab manager down
No.
there? Oh, okay.
No, I'm just on staff with them.
Okay, so who is Al your?
Al is.
Al?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay,
I work with Al and
okay,
I'm helping with him.
okay.
She probably has more of a wealth of knowledge than anybody else at the VFW right now when it comes to gambling. Right here.
Yeah, I have 30+ years experience,
That's awesome.
20+ with Alicaki.
That's great. Super. Well, I think what we ought to do is gather our thoughts, talk about some of these things, and we owe it to these people to have another meeting and talk. Does everybody agree on that? Okay? Okay, so is there another time we could, if January 20th doesn't work, should we look at something else?
Well, I think we'll talk about it at EDA, see what works with the EDA schedule, and since it's kind of joint meeting, council, EDA, and then gambling entities.
Maybe we can get back with the
Yeah.
Okay, depending on what you guys come up with, whether you want it sooner or later, before the new year, something like that, it would be really nice.
Sure. Okay, yes.
You're talking about the banners now, is the banners now with the school, or what you're saying, it's all taken care of, or that's something different?
They are going, the school is doing it. Ryan, I think
Yeah, that's more on the parks side, but yes, the school, Lindsay's doing quite a bit of legwork to get that rolling. A lot of legwork to get that rolling, just to make sure that all families can be included on being able to participate. If, there's some that don't have the funds to avoid.
One batch that went into the printer or whatever.
I think you're right. I think she sent out one batch to get that already, and it's actually going really good the way it sounds.
Right. And hopefully within the next month or so, we can start seeing some of our seniors downtown, so.
Well, and to clarify that we discussed that was gonna only be up for October to May,
Mm-hmm.
and there's gonna be different banners in the summer.
So the city still.
So there's
has
still
some
banners that need to be purchased
Correct.
from the city or the park group or whatever.
Some more generic, like, welcome to Osakis, kind of.
Yeah.
You're just more
It's
traditional
special
ones.
ones.
Yep.
Anything else? Anybody else like to speak? Okay, then, call for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion carries.